Amanda Nunes, you better stay retired. You better stay retired. There's a reason why. UFC 316 just wrapped up. Let's talk about it. My good people, how's it going? Been a while. I know you guys have missed your boy, but we're here to talk about UFC 316. I'm going to share my thoughts about the main event, the co-main event, and fights like Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer, Mario Bautista. What the hell am I thinking about Mauricio? All right, I have a couple of Mauricios to talk about. But Mario Bautista versus who's Patchy mix? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Kevin Holland versus Vincente Luque. Really enjoyed that one. We're going to also talk about, again, my general overview of UFC 316 and anything in between that this dumb casual mind can come up with. Now, just give me a second. Oh, there we go. I had to check that my mic and everything was in order because I got a lot to say today. Starting first with, man, I was so impressed with Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is just guys, I've said it in the past before that Kevin Holland probably would never be a UFC champion. And as long as he's good with that, so am I. Kevin Holland doesn't have championship aspirations. As long as he's good with that, so am I. Kevin Holland will continue to be a potential gatekeeper in two divisions, the 170 division and the 185 division. That's just where I've seen his career, play out. That's just what it's going to be. Anybody who has thoughts of Kevin Holland becoming a UFC champion, kill that right now, immediately. Don't even bother. Don't raise your blood pressure hoping that Kevin Holland is going to have a championship run. It's not going to happen. The boy is just there. He likes to talk. He likes to fight. He's entertaining. He wants to make money. And I think at this point, I believe Kevin Holland is just stacking up, some cash. And he's thinking about life after fighting. That's where I think it is. I think he likes the fact that he's out there. He's a UFC fighter. Probably didn't think he was going to be. Eventually got the chance, came in, impressed Dana, and he's just getting fights and he's being put on the main card because he moves the needle. Not because his skills are completely exceptional. It's not that. I can tell you that for free. Kevin Holland's skills are not exceptional enough to make anybody think he's going to be a future UFC champion. Just not going to happen. But there are days when he shows up and he's just a beast. They're days. Yeah, UFC 316 was one of those days against Vincente, the silent assassin, Luque. My guy. For those of you who don't know, Vincente Luque is a veteran. Even though I think he's in his early 30s. Even though he's in his early 30s, it looks like he's been fighting in the UFC for the last 20 years. I kid you, I'm just joking. But he's been fighting in the UFC for a very long time. And he's a veteran. And he's good. He's good. How good is he? He's knocked out Bilal is beating people like RDJ. For those who don't know, Rafael Dos Santos, the former UFC champion. Vincente Luque is taking them out. And his last fight, I think it was, what's his name? Garambe? Might be wrong, guys. Don't fact check me on that one. But he had I think it was an anaconda choke in his last win, which I think was a comeback fight. But in coming to face Kevin Holland, for future fighters who want to fight Kevin Holland, here's my advice to you. Get some earplugs. There's a reason why I say that. Get some earplugs. Because Kevin Holland is going to talk a lot of crap. He's going to talk and put words in your ears. And at this point, I don't think it's about entertainment. I think it's actually mental warfare. I think it's intentional. I don't think he's doing it to play around. No. It's mental warfare. Because the boy can talk. He can talk. I mean, he almost got under Rampage Johnson's skin. Which, come to think about it, that's not hard to do. Because Rampage's temper is just like scorpion temper, right? But yeah, you need to have earplugs when you come to fight Kevin Holland. Because even from the from the weigh-ins, I noticed Kevin Holland was talking, trying to make Vincente Luque, drop his guard and things like that. And then we got to the point of the fight, the actual fight, and Kevin Holland just kept talking. But he was kicking butt while he was doing it. You only see that kind of greatness in talking greatness, that's what I mean, not fighting greatness. But you see that talking, fighting combo greatness, you probably only see it in people like Muhammad Ali. Another good example would be Nick Diaz. My God, Nick Diaz, back in the day. My goodness gracious, Nick could talk, right? I think Kevin Holland is the modern day version of the talk and fight combination. Luque went in there, I thought he was sharp at first, until Kevin Holland slammed a ridiculous right elbow into Luque's back, behind Luque's back ear. That shit caused a huge hematoma. Instantly, Kevin smashed it, and the hematoma came up literally in the next 30 seconds. And after that, Luque, in my personal opinion, he just became, disoriented. He just wasn't the same after that. And then Kevin just went to work. Continuous barrage. In fact, at some point in the first round, Luque tried to take Kevin down. And Kevin, speaking of which, Kevin's takedown defense was really good in this fight. Luque grabbed on one leg, trying his best to take Kevin down. Kevin was defending the takedown with one leg up and rained in a barrage of punches, so much so that Vincente Luque had to let go. His brain probably had, a little malfunction, receiving that many shots while trying to take a takedown, or trying to get a takedown. Wasn't worth it, bro. It wasn't worth it. And then at some point, Kevin, of all people, finishes Vincente Luque. Who would have thought you'd be alive to see a fight where Kevin Holland, with his fight record, who would have thought? Who would have thought that? I didn't think that. I didn't think that would be a thing. Kevin Holland would have finished Vincente Luque in spectacular fashion. How? Right? Who would have thought that? I'm still thinking about it, and quite frankly, I think that may have been Kevin Holland's best performance. I really think so. Right? I know the one with Jacare Sosa, there's that. He has a lot of other fights. But I don't know that there's any fight I've seen Kevin Holland display this level of sharpness. His striking was pretty good. His takedown and scrambles, the takedown defense and scramble, also pretty good. And he was talking all that crap while he was doing it. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. You know, he won back a little respect from me because Kevin had he had he lost a little bit of my respect when he went on the Jackson podcast and had that little back and forth with Rampage Jackson, which I thought was completely unnecessary. I thought that wasn't really a good look for him. He's bounced back a little bit. But damn, did he do some good work on Vincente Luque. And if he gets a bonus, I'm good with it. Transition. 2. Who the hell is Patchy Mix? Who is that? Who is Patchy Mix? And why should I know him? Guys, I gotta be honest, I don't know who. Going into UFC 316, I didn't know who Patchy Mix was. As you know, I don't really watch as much Bellator fights unless it's something like there's something really exciting over there. I don't watch, I didn't watch a lot of, or rather I don't watch a lot of Bellator fights or PFL fights either. Do you know why? Because like I keep saying, the UFC is the pinnacle. The UFC is the pinnacle of fight promotions globally. I don't care what anybody says. Because if you disagree, explain to me how people who come from other promotions to the UFC, champions who come from other promotions to the UFC, end up being fraud checked. The list goes on. It's exhaustive at this point. Rest of Ben Askren, you make it out. So I'm gonna shit talk a little bit. Ben Askren is one. Champion in other promotions, come to the UFC. He's made an example of by a journeyman. Hey, I lost Street Jesus, but he really is a journeyman. Let's keep it real. But Ben Askren comes over, champion from another organization, comes to the UFC, and then nearly gets finished or nearly gets destroyed by Robbie Lawler, wins in his first match with a huge controversy, faces Masvidal and becomes the poster boy for the fastest knockout in UFC history. Let's talk about Michael Chandler, champion from Bellator, comes over to the UFC, sort of scales his way through an unprepared, in my personal opinion, an unprepared Dan Hooker, and that's it. Waste time with Conor McGregor. You guys, you know the history. I'm not going to talk about Michael Chandler's history. But Chandler's victory over Dan Hooker and an extremely washed up Tony Ferguson tells you all you need to know about his fighting credentials from Bellator. It is what it is. I don't make the rules. That's just what it is. I'm sorry. That is what it is. Move over. Let's talk about who else we got? Patricio Pitbull comes over to the UFC, makes his debut, completely washed out. Moving on. Now, respectfully, Michael Venom Page, one of my favorite fighters right now, anywhere, across promotions. But he's come to he shined in Bellator, but he's come to UFC, and it's like, it's mixed feelings. It's 50-50, right? I don't really even see championship aspirations for MVP just because of the level of competition in that division and the point where he's at in his career. Who knows what could have happened if Michael Venom Page had been in the UFC 8 to 10 years ago? We don't know. But it's 50-50, right? Next person would be who? Who else? I got a few names, right? Patchy Mix. I had no idea who this dude was. I just see him on the main card. Oh, sorry, on the main event, and I'm like, no, damn, why am I saying main event? What's wrong with my terminologies these days? Okay, so he's on the main card against Mario Bautista. I'm like, why? What's all the hype? Who is this dude? Where is he coming from? How good is he? Now, he came into this fight, to be fair, he came into this fight with a 20-1 record. But my goodness gracious, dude looked like C-3PO from Star Wars.
I don't like the look of this.
I'm sorry. That's what he looked like, man. He looked like 3PO from Star Wars. In his movements is what I mean. While he was in the cage. Mario Bautista just tenderized Patchy Mix for 3 rounds. He had no answer. His feet movement was terrible. His head movement, strictly in the center line. No head movement at all. His hooks weren't really landing. His jabs were missing. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on right here? Right? What is going on right here? Is this dude being neutralized? Or is this literally fraud checking happening live before our eyes? Because again, same thing happened. Another example just came to my head. Same thing happened with the dude. What's the dude from Rising? Asukara, I think that's his name. They brought over to fight Pantoja, the 125 division. That's not even something to remember. That performance was not something to remember after all the hype. You know? But back to Patchy Mix. What the hell was that, bro? Tatiana Suarez. Come get your boo. What happened? Okay, let me think. And I'm trying to give him a cop-out right here. Did he feel under pressure? You know, with the UFC, the big bright lights, the biggest stage in the world, main event, or main card rather. Did he feel that pressure? Did he perform so poorly because he's never been in that kind of setting before? Or did he perform so poorly because Mario Bautista was extremely sharp and crisp the entire time? Could be a bit of both. Or it could just be that Patchy Mix may not be that good and just hasn't faced really good competition outside of the UFC. What do you guys think? Because it looks to me like that was the case. You've just not faced really good competition outside the UFC. And for those of you who still think that the UFC may not be, and I didn't say is, but the UFC may not be the premier top tier peak of combat sports promotion, think about this. How many fighters have left from the UFC to other promotions and became champions and became dominant champions? You disagree? Well, let's run through that list. Let's talk about Corey Henderson, who could not get a UFC belt in the light heavyweight division. It's not about politics, in my personal opinion. He says it seems to be about politics. No, it's not about politics. Yes, Dana didn't like him. But you see, the thing with Dana, even if Dana doesn't like you, if you fight well, you're gonna get your shot. Dana didn't like, what's his name? Ugh. The dude, Tito Ortiz from back in the day. Dana's made no issues about saying how much he did not like Tito Ortiz, but he worked with him, and Tito was a champion, right? So Corey Anderson moving over to Bellator and becoming a champion over there tells you all you need to know, right? Let's talk about Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader, UFC fighter, goes over to Bellator, becomes 2-division champion. Light heavyweight and I believe heavyweight. I might be wrong, fact check me on that, but I think I'm right on that one. Right? What are we talking about? Right? Who else? I think I got someone else. Francis Ngannou, thank you very much. Francis Ngannou, yes. Francis Ngannou leaves the UFC, goes over to PFL, becomes a champion at the heavyweight. Let's talk about Sergio Pettis. Sergio Pettis leaves the UFC, could not achieve a belt, goes over to Bellator, what was it? Bellator? Right? Whatever promotion. Sergio Pettis goes over, becomes a champion. And then if the last case I'm going to use to exemplify my point, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, extremely dominant champion in the UFC, arguably greatest champion in the UFC, goes over to ONE FC. What happens? Magic. Why don't the guys from other promotions come over to the UFC and do the same? Why do they usually come over to the UFC and look like Patchy mix? Like, what the hell, bro? That was terrible. That was terrible, bro. That wasn't good. That did nothing for you. That did nothing for your UFC career. Terrible start to the UFC career. Again, I don't disrespect fighters. I just say what I see, what I feel about the performance. And that was a crappy performance by a long shot. Don't kill the messenger. The messenger is a dumb casual, but you know that I'm saying something that makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people agreed with this, particularly the C3PO reference. Congratulations to Mario Bautista. I never really think, I've never thought of Bautista. I've never thought too highly of Bautista as a fighter. He's okay, but look how he shined when coming up against Patchy mix. Listen, let me just move on. I don't want to keep hanging my cloak on this one. Kevin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Guys, what do we do with Kevin Gastelum? If you follow this career, Kevin Gastelum was on a meteoric rise for a lot of years prior to 2019. I mean, I believe Kevin was Michael Bisping's last fight, and he knocked Bisping out clean. We thought, okay, Gastelum is going to do this. And I think there were rumors that he was supposed to fight Whitaker. I think that didn't pull through. And then eventually Kevin Gastelum goes up against Israel Adesanya in what I consider to be one of my top 5 greatest fights of all time. I'm sorry, I'll say that all day. Kevin Gastelum versus Israel Adesanya is one of my top 5 greatest fights of all time. And Kevin pulled through that fight. He lost, but stock went up. But after that fight, my goodness, his stock tanked and has continued to tank. And his career since April 2019 hasn't really been something worthy of emulation. It's just not been. And I don't know what's happening with him, right? Just let's focus on him physically. And I'm not trying to body shame or anything like that, you know. But Kevin Gastelum looks like his body is a fusion of two different people, right? Someone with a lower bottom body, and then someone with, you know, a broad upper body type. I was thinking about the right word to say, but let's stick with type. But the thing about that kind of frame is, what do you do with him? He's too small and too short for the 185 division, even though he fights in that division. But then he's too big for the 170 division, which is why he continues to miss weight. What do you do with a dude like that? And I understand he was on a rise leading to April 2019, but at this point, you know, which in many ways may invalidate my argument about the body type. But maybe I might be right. We don't know. Because goddamn it, since April 2019, Kevin Gastelum's career is just, it's been lackluster. It's been lackluster. I don't even know what really is the problem. And then you put him against a 6'2", 185 pounder who I believe in that fight post making weight. If you tell me Joe Pyfer came in at 200 pounds, I could believe it. I can easily believe that he looked big. He looked big even for the division, but even looked bigger against Kevin Gastelum. And that translated in his power too. Brad dropped Kevin multiple times in that fight in the first round. Shout out to Kelvin though. That chin is made of granite. That's a strong chin. Because he took a lot of shots that could have put a lot of lights out in other people. But that little Mexican spirit, that little Mexican chin came through. And even though he had problems with the pacing, he had problems with the range management, he had problems trying to get to Pyfer because of Pyfer's return power and Pyfer's, you know, reach advantage. Kevin still tried to make a comeback in the later rounds, which it's commendable. That little fighting spirit from pre-2019 started showing up, but it was too late. He tried, but it was too late. And just makes me wonder, like, what are we going to do with him? What's Dana White going to do with him? Is he going to get cut? I hope not. I think he's still young enough to keep fighting. Kevin has at least 5 more years of fights. I don't know about a title run, but bro, you need to get like really good wins. He's riding on the name and past glory right now. That's what I think. I think Kevin Gastelum is holding on to that name pre-2019. And I have to ask myself if that's going to be enough to proceed further, to have an illustrious career in the UFC. You guys may disagree, but you know what I'm saying makes some sense. As much as I'm a dumb casual, it makes some sense. What are you going to do with him? You know? I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad for him, you know, because I know that feeling of being on a tier, being high off victory and success. Trust me, I know. You probably don't know my background, which is great, which is why, you know, we got all this. We have all this for a reason, right? But I know victory. I know what it's like to win and be on a tier. However, I also know loss. I know the pain of loss in many aspects of my life. And I just see that in Kevin. I see that in Kevin Gastelum happening in real time. We don't know where this is going to go, but I wish him the best. And I hope at least, he doesn't even have to make a comeback as far as I'm concerned. I just hope that at this point, he can have one good other fight, right? Because he's losing fights and then his fights are not exciting. Michael Chandler, on the contrary, loses fights. But bro, nobody can ever talk about Michael Chandler being in a boring fight, if that makes sense. So Kevin, sometimes you might want to go out and put the performance of your life. I don't care what happens. There's a limited window for you to be exciting, right? At this point, you probably won't do a title run, so why not just at least give us exciting fights? Like, make these fights count. The dumb, humble opinion and the dumb, humble recommendation for you to take. It's up to you. I'm gonna transition now. Who saw, or rather, let me rephrase that. Who didn't see Kayla Harrison's win coming? If you didn't see Kayla Harrison winning Juliana Pena by any means possible, that she, by any way she would choose, whether it's by grappling or whether it's by striking, or whether it's by just even a stare down. If you didn't see that happening, you are a dumber casual than I am. Because I saw that thing happen a mile away. I really did. Did you guys see Kayla Harrison's size in that octagon against Juliana Pena? Kayla Harrison looked like the female version of Brock Lesnar. She looked like the female version of the Ultimate Warrior. She looked like the female version, guys, if you don't know who the Ultimate Warrior is from the glory days in WWE, formerly WWF, Google is your friend. Kayla Harrison looked like Bautista. Kayla Harrison looked like John Cena in there. Post weigh-ins. How the hell does she make 135? It's a mystery to me. I don't know. And there's not a 145 division right now, so what's going to happen? What's that going to look like? Amanda Nunes did that. Amanda Nunes is the reason why there is a no 145 division, a female division. Thank you, Amanda. You did it. And while we're on the subject of Amanda Nunes, no, I don't care about Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes. Like, I'll get back to that later. Let's keep it on Kayla Harrison and Juliana Pena. I mean, first off, what's up with Juliana Pena's stance, fighting stance, and her fight movement? And how has she been able to acquire that many wins, standing and looking the way she does? Like, it's not a karate stance. It's like, it's not necessarily, she doesn't even look like a brawler. She looks very untrained. But you can't say that because she's been a two-time champion. The UFC, won the Ultimate Fight. Like, what is that? What do we call that stance? Do we call it the grit stance? Because she does have a lot of grit. She does have willpower. But she's not the sharpest puncher. She's not the sharpest kicker. She does know how to scramble. But I just can't place what on earth that stance is. It looks stocky as hell. It looks stiff as hell. It doesn't exactly enhance our punching power. It doesn't look like our punches come from the hip up, if that makes sense. For those of you who do know how to punch, you know what I'm talking about. That stance doesn't even make her kick well. Like, you don't really see her throw kicks, right? That little thing she does where she's doing this. What is that? That's like R2D2, like plus 3 CPO. Like, what is that? What is that thing she does? Right? I don't get it. The moment Kayla grabbed her, it was a wrap. I knew it. I was like, the size difference. Kayla could do anything she wanted with her. With Kayla's credentials as a Olympic gold medalist in judo, if they those kind of people grab you, it's a wrap. Let's talk about like when they grab you based on the technique and skill that they have, it's usually a wrap. Then you add on that level of power that Kayla Harrison has, that size difference, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. If anything, I probably want to see Kayla Harrison fight Chris Cyborg, just based on their size. That's what I would like to see. Those dudes, did I say dudes? Oh, man. Woo! Gonna get some flack for that one. Those dudes, Kayla Harrison and Chris Cyborg. Oh, bro, you should not have said that. But listen, those ladies have a better physical frame than I do. What? Take out the faces and the little gun, the little girls over there. Talk about the broad shoulders and biceps, bruh. The aggression and overload, in my personal opinion, of testosterone, bruh. They can kick ass. And if there's a fight I would like to see, that's the fight I would like to see. I would like to see Kayla Harrison versus Chris Cyborg. In their prime, of course. But it looks like we're gonna have Kayla Harrison dragging Amanda Nunes out of retirement. I don't know what the point is. There are other people in the division to fight. Kayla probably has how many fights in the UFC? It's like maybe 3 or 4 fights. There are people in the division to fight. Let's assume and I don't like the idea of this fight, right? Let's assume she beats Amanda Nunes. Who's the next person for her to fight? Whoever that is just, that person is over there just waiting for at least a year. That's gonna take at least a year before Kayla Harrison fights anybody outside of Amanda Nunes, if their fight actually comes through. But let's just assume Amanda Nunes comes back and wins Kayla Harris. Then what next? Will Amanda ride off in the sunset, do a Judge St. Pierre style? Cement her legacy even further, which there's no need for that. She's already in the Hall of Fame. But let's just assume. Let's think. What does that look like? If Amanda Nunes comes back and defeats Kayla Harrison, is she gonna still stay in the UFC? Is she gonna leave? And if she vacates or she leaves, then we open this up to who again? Kayla Harrison and who? Or Juliana Pena? Like, it causes too much confusion for me. I think Kayla Harrison should fight a true contender, whoever that may be. And if she's going to be dominant for the next 3, 4, 5 fights or whatever, or if there's nobody who can win her, then allow her build her legacy. She's fighting stiff competition in her generation. But I guess for the sake of the legacy, she probably want to grab Amanda Nunes under her belt and then go on to have a couple of more wins and actually claim the title of the true greatest female fighter of all time. If that's the game plan, it's not a bad one, in my opinion. I'm just not eager to see that fight. But I did like the show of respect between Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison after the fight. For those of you who know, if you watch the UFC countdown for the UFC 316, you know Kayla Harrison is a mom to her nephews, I think. nephews and nieces. I don't know. There's some backstory that involves, her sister and her mom not being able to take care of her sister's kids, and Kayla stepped up as a person, and she's raising those kids by herself. It's so commendable. It gave me a new perspective, and I didn't know that backstory. So when I watched the countdown and I saw it, I'm like, oh, respect. And I think Juliana also respects that, because Juliana is a single mom. She understands what it takes to raise a daughter while being a fighter, and Kayla Harrison is raising at least 2 kids. It's very commendable on many levels. On many levels. It's selfless. And it just makes you appreciate her story even more. So after the fight, you see 2 of them embrace. They say a prayer, a very strong prayer. And I see those 2 being friends outside of the octagon. I don't even think it was personal. Juliana will always try to sell the fights. Of course, she's going to shit and trash talk throughout the build-up leading to the fight. But after fight night, it's a wrap. And I appreciated that. I really did. But if Amanda Nunes wants to come back, though, in my opinion, it validates what Juliana said. Amanda Nunes was scared, or Amanda Nunes may have been scared to come back to fight Juliana Pena a 3rd time. Because that's a coward move, right? I always say this, it's a coward move. If you're one-on-one, you do a 3rd one and wrap it up. Just to make sure. Right? She finished you in the first fight. That's Juliana finished Amanda in the first fight. The second fight happens, Amanda wins, and then Amanda retires? Same thing she did with the Shevchenko fight. Shevchenko wanted that last fight with Amanda Nunes. Even though, listen, hey, yes, she won, I think she won 2 fights against Shevchenko. But that's one fight I still wanted to see. I get it. It's 2-0, but at the same time, that really doesn't matter in some circumstances. You still want to see a 3rd fight, even if it's 2-0. Like Max and Dustin Poirier, or like, what is it? This just skipped my mind. Max and Dustin Poirier was one. Damn it. I had it. Guys, I had it. It was right here. Damn it. This casual brain. Who else? Damn. Listen, we'll move on. But my point is, yeah, sometimes you want to see, you have a fight where it's 2-0, and then there's like a fight. Oh, I got it. Just came back. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. Even though Pereira had won Israel 3 times in the past, right? Or 2 times in the past. Comes to the UFC, wins him one more time. It was 3-0 in total in their fights between kickboxing and MMA. 3-0. Izzy wins 1 fight, so it becomes 3-1. So in the grand scheme of things, Alex has won more fights against Izzy. Izzy has won 1, which really was the most glorious of all the wins, right? But we still wanted to see it. So if that's the case, why would we not want to see Amanda Nunes fight Valentina Shevchenko for a third time, right? But anyway, back to Amanda Nunes probably being scared of Juliana Pena, and I don't know why. Not with that kind of form, but I think maybe because of the trauma she experienced after that first Juliana win. Who knows? I might be talking some crap. I'll get some flack for this one. The same way I got flack for saying that Ian Gary should be given a title shot after his last fight. My God, you guys went in on Twitter. You guys know yourselves. You went in on Twitter. Listen, take it easy, guys. Take it easy. I'm sharing opinions here. Not that I care what your words do, but guys, try to see things from where I'm coming from sometimes. when I say these things, remove the sentiments, be objective. Because when I try to say these things, sometimes I try to back it up with a great degree of logic, of which some of you present very, very, very strong arguments in the contrary. And I appreciate it. I really do. I really do. Gives me a different perspective. You know? Let's go on to the main event. Merab, the bully machine, the Wallace Shrilly. Again, another fight that I saw would play out the way it did. Validating Merab's win from the first fight as well. To be fair to Suga Sean O'Malley, O'Malley was more focused on this fight. The second fight. O'Malley was better trained. He had better responses to Merab's takedown attempts. But I think even the takedown attempts that Merab failed, he probably wasn't putting in as much effort. Because when he did really put in the effort to take O'Malley down, he just ragdolled him the entire time. Right? There was a time, I think it was in the second round, there was a time he pulled O'Malley to the ground, started grounding and pounding. I saw O'Malley's breaths heaving. Bruh, that's never a good sign. It's never a good sign. Merab bullied O'Malley for 3 rounds. Bullied him the entire time. And this is a higher, better version of Sean O'Malley. Merab just completely ragdolled. Did whatever he wanted with him. Picked him up like he picked up Henry Cejudo. Slammed him on the ground. Was toying with, he was toying. He was playing with Sean O'Malley. The entire time. And I have to ask myself, who's there for Merab? Who's there? You listen, Corey Sandhagen is my boy. That is my boy all day. Corey Sandhagen is my boy. I love him. Love his fight style. If there's one person I'd like to train with, it's Corey Sandhagen. I really like how he fights. And I've made no hidden facts about my desire to see Corey Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley. That should have been the fight to make before Corey fought Deiveson Figueroa, when both of them were on losses. But of course, Uncle Dana and the UFC decided there should be a rematch between Sean O'Malley and Merab for obviously business purposes, because that's just what the UFC rankings is now. It's a business decision. Fights are business decisions right now. Very rarely do you see fights that actually make sense and should propel a fighter's career based on their performances. Very rarely. You know? So, we have the Suga Sean fight with Merab for the second time. It made numbers, don't get me wrong. It was a big, look at the crowd. You know, and look at who you have in the crowd. All the celebrities, the politicians, whatever. Right? It was good. But I would have loved to see Sean O'Malley fight Corey Sandhagen when both of them were coming off a loss, or if both of them were coming off wins. Don't matter. I love Corey, and Corey's my boy, but after seeing Merab's last 3 performances, what Merab did to Suga twice and to Umar Nurmagomedov, after seeing what Umar Nurmagomedov did to Corey, I don't know. Merab's style is so gritty. It's so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a bully. That's the word, that's the only thing that comes to mind. Merab's style is a bully style. It's relentless. It's dirty. It's disorienting. It's unorthodox. It's all these things combined, and it just wears you down. And it doesn't wear you down slowly. It's not like, Israel Adesanya. Whenever Israel is in a fight, he doesn't exactly rush for a knockout. He's like a point fighter. He touches, he keeps touching, tenderizing one or two, some tenderizing shots, the right kicks, and then when he gets the right setup, a knockout comes. No. Merab's is relentless. It just keeps coming. There's no space. There's no chance you get to catch a breather. He just wears you down with that inhuman cardio. And he said something in the post-fight, in the interview, the Octagon interview. He said he doesn't think that his, paraphrasing here, he said he doesn't think his cardio is fantastic because in the past, he smoked, he drank, didn't really take care of himself, but now he's eating healthy and he's trying to take care of himself and watch what he puts in his body. Bruh, do you know how insane that sounds? Let's think about what could have happened to Merab and his cardio if Merab had been eating clean for the last 10 years. What's that going to look like? If this is the watered down version of his cardio, what could that have looked like if Merab was like eating prime, eating clean the entire time? It's scary to think about. This dude just keeps on putting the pressure, applying pressure. Actually, in the fight, Suga started off controlling the center of the octagon and actually backing Merab up. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on right here? Suga is looking to apply pressure to Merab, and then that quickly changed like 2 minutes into the first round, and it maintained that momentum till the very end. And you have to ask yourself, what's next? What's next? What? What is next? What's next for Merab? And I'm trying to crack my brain through the division right now. After Corey Sandhagen, what's next? Listen, if Corey and Merab's fight leads to Sean and Corey fighting off losses, hey, I'm very okay with it. However, think about it. What if Corey wins? Listen, relax, guys, relax. I know what you're thinking, but just what if? What if in an alternative world, Corey Sandhagen goes in there to fight Merab after they've come on vacation and Corey is gonna come off a run, which they both said after, there's a backstage video I'm making reference to of Corey and Merab. What if when they're ready, Merab does what he needs to do to Corey? What if Corey wins? Just what if? What if Corey wins? What's next? Rematch? Depending on how that win goes. I guess it'll probably be a rematch because Merab so far, the amount of wins he's had in that division, he's been on a run, and then also the title defenses he's had. He's had 3 title defenses now. So I guess if Corey wins, it doesn't matter the fashion in which he wins. It's probably going to be a rematch. I think it's probably going to be a rematch because again, who's he going to fight? He's definitely not going to fight Suga. Look at the people in the top 5 right now. He's not going to fight Suga because he's fought him twice. He's not going to fight Umar. Umar has at least 1 or 2 more fights before he gets another title shot. He has to do it in dominant fashion. Yeah, who? I don't know. I'm lost. The damn casual is lost, guys. I'm lost. Anyway, Thank you, guys. If you've been here this long, I really appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, on X, and on Twitter. Subscribe to this channel. It's all one name, @TheDumbCasual, across all platforms, guys. Thank you so much. I really, 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 really appreciate you guys. And we'll get on to other news later. For instance, Belal. It looks like Belal and Ian Gary might be, they might get to fight. Love it. We have Buckley versus Usman. Eager to see that one. We have Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. I love to see that one. I really love to see it. And Chama is back, it seems. Who knows? We'll see how all this plays out. Damn. I really want to see Amanda Nunes not fight Kayla Harrison, and I want to see Valentina Shevchenko fight Zhang Weili first. That super fight has to happen. Uncle Dana, make that shit happen. Right now. The hell? Mr. TDC out. Peace.